Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, to sage Narada and all other sages and saints, and to each of you, divine soul, watching today's satsang. So today we will be covering Sutra number 46 from the Narada Bhakti Sutras, chapter number 2, which is Glory of Divine Supreme Devotion. Commentary is by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started. Sutra 46, chapter 2. Kastarati mayam. That's a question. Yaha sangan tyajati yo mahanubhavam sevate nirmamo bhavati. So let's repeat. Kastarati mayam yaha sangana tajyati yo mahanubhavam sevate nirmamo bhavati. Meaning, who crosses the ocean of Maya? Who crosses the ocean of Maya? Twice Sage Narada has brought this up, because crossing Maya is so difficult. He says, he who renounces attachments, who serves a spiritual preceptor, elevated person, and who becomes free from the sense of mindness. So that is the essence of this sutra, meaning that deluded by Maya or cosmic illusion, one's spirit is unable to turn away from the world of the senses, because Maya is so, it's like a magnetic pull, and the senses as if get sucked in, but instead continues to whirl in the cycles of birth and death through repeated embodiments. And that's what really happens if we are just indulging in sense pleasures. When the deluding potency of Maya is overcome by divine grace, so that's where we need the divinity and the divine grace to thunder, to come down upon us. However, the spirit is drawn to God through increasing unfoldment of divine love. The art of overcoming this deluding potency of Maya is given in this and the following sutras. So here, Sage Narada is explaining from Katha Upanishad. He says, the self-created Brahma formed the senses with outgoing tendencies. Think about it. Everything within us is outgoing. Eyes are looking outside, ears are hearing from outside, nose is smelling from outside, tongue is tasting outside, and skin is touching it from external tendencies. Therefore, they are constantly drawing one's vision outwards into the world of matter. But the heroes on the spiritual path are able to withdraw the senses from the objects and thus have internalized their vision. So they have learned this magic trick. They have caught the elusive force of Maya, and therefore they are working hard like brave warriors and trying to go within. They behold the glory of the self within. So the world process is compared to an ocean of pleasure and pain, hunger and thirst, birth and death. These are the waves. Anger, greed, hatred, passion, and other impurities. These are the terrible aquatic creatures that endanger the swimmer who dares to cross it. Repeated embodiments are the numerous whirlpools. Attachments and infatuations are the undercurrents. And past negative karmas, they are like razor sharp rocks hidden just beneath the surface. So you can imagine the process of crossing the world process is not a piece of cake. We have to earn it. We have to work hard for it. It's pretty challenging initially, and then all these things are there to drag us down at any moment. Thus, this ocean of the world process surges with sorrow and suffering. They say, Sarvam dukkha vivekinaha. Wise people see pain everywhere. And then Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam, that birth, death, pain, disease, all these are very painful. So he says, remember your mortality every day, see the pain, and therefore work towards this goal. While an aspirant following the path of wisdom relies on self-effort, like one one who tries to brave the ocean with his base arms. A devotee secures the comfortable ship of divine grace and is led across the ocean by the divinity of who captains the ship. So therefore a devotee prays and puts in his effort and also gets God's grace to pull him into the ship that can easily carry him through the ocean of the world process. Then he doesn't have to worry about all these impending dangers, because he is being led by his guru, he's putting in his effort, and the divine grace is falling on him. So these are the essential points that must be covered in order to cross the ocean of Maya. So the first one is called Sanga Tyaga, renunciation of all attachments, and you may want to review Sutra number 35. We had covered different kinds of Tyaga there. Attachments are of two types again, external attachments and internal attachments. External attachments are reduced by adopting the principle of simple living, which includes the practice of asteya, non-stealing or not possessing objects that don't belong to you, aparigraha, non-covetousness or not possessing objects beyond one's needs, and uparati. Uparati means withdrawal from the objects of sense pleasures. Internal attachments, they consist of the subtle desires that we have covered, vasanas of the unconscious. These are reduced as the aspirant advances on the path of bhakti or devotion, as his mind begins to enjoy the sweetness of divine love. So these attachments are finally eradicated when devotion blooms into parabhakti. So this continues the journey till we achieve the destination from bhakti to parabhakti, which is called supreme devotion. So the second stage is called seva. Seva is serving your guru, serving the spiritual preceptor, and we covered that in Sutra number 39 in some detail. Lord Krishna says, "O Arjuna, attain this knowledge pertaining to the divine self." So, by prostrating before a sage, by rendering him all forms of service, and by asking him about the divine self with a sincere heart, any questions, then only will the wise sage unfold that knowledge to you. So that sutra is, that shloka is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka number 34. It says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninan tattva darshinaha. So that's what that means, that you sit under the holy feet of a sage. Us gyan ko tu tattvadarshi gyaniyon ke paas jaakar samajh. Go and understand this profound wisdom from sages and saints who have walked on that path and realized it. Then you do dandvat shashtang pranam, like a stick you fall on them at their lotus feet, and then serve them, and without any trace of self-interest or cunningness. Simplicity should be there, stripping from you, saralta purvak. Ask them questions with humility, and then Paramatma Tattva ko bhali bhati janne wale jnani. Then those sages and saints who are reveling in God and who have attained that knowledge will give you upadesha. Upadesha means the spiritual knowledge that they will share with you. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying that in Bhagavad Gita. So an aspirant must approach a spiritual preceptor, serve him wholeheartedly. There is no merit greater than this. So that, according to the scriptures, becomes very important. By serving a spiritual preceptor, an aspirant becomes indirectly involved in serving humanity. And that is my humble attempt to follow my guru's service, because to share his message, because sages and saints are full of love and compassion. They only want to give and give, and share this divine wisdom and knowledge with all. So that is what the practice should be for a sincere aspirant. There should be no desire for name, fame, ego, money. If any of that is controlling your thought process, then we are far away from the desired goal of parabhakti or pragya. This is because an enlightened preceptor exists for the promotion of the well-being of all. He only wants the well-being of everybody, and the disciple who serves him becomes a participant in his divine work. So this itself is the highest reward that I have been given, this blessed opportunity, and each of you, whoever is involved in sharing this knowledge, is given this wonderful blessing to make this world a better place and to participate in the divine work. So, nirmamata, then freedom from the sense of possession brought about by increasing surrender to the divine self. That means nothing belongs to me, it is all God's world, including my breath, including my body. When we think like that, we become humble. As a result of serving Guru and practicing other spiritual disciplines, an aspirant purifies the heart, becomes increasingly aware that nothing belongs to him, nothing. As the sense of I-ness and mine-ness begins to dissolve, he increasingly offers his entire personality to God until his very ego sense dissolves in the divine love, and he then becomes the object of his meditation. He becomes the end goal himself, and that is the blessing that he gets from the Guru and the divine energy as well. So that was the essence of this sutra, and we will cover sutra number 47 tomorrow. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.